Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back. Today we're working on the RB26 here and we're going to strip it down. So pretty much what I'm going to do here just to get started, get the motor turned over just top dead center. That way the cams are lined up properly and I can access the head bolts. And I'm actually going to try to leave everything attached. Just going to leave the exhaust manifold on, leave the intake manifold on. That way I don't have to order gaskets for all that. I really don't have to do anything to the head. I'm probably not even going to deck it, because I just went through it a couple years ago and set it all up properly. So really, just going to be pulling everything off the bottom and getting the oil pan off and everything.
We are mostly wasted time, half asleep and half divine, waiting for the faintest light, waiting for these moves to heal. No one never is lost and is bound as we think we are. No one never is lost and is bound as we think we are. Love takes some time to bloom, but when it's right it'll find you. When it's right it'll find you. Like sunlight breaking through. When it's right it'll come to you. When it's right it'll find you.
Alright, we got the motor pretty stripped out here. I don't really need anything else off there, just the upper water neck. So I can put this away and put it in the back of the shop for a future project. I did post it for sale, but I'm not sure if anyone wants to pay what I want for it. So I'll sit on it and see what happens. And then you can check out over here. Actually pulled the head off with the intake manifold and the exhaust manifold all in one go. So that's an awesome way just to save a bit of time, and then you don't have to mess around with all the coolant lines and the crossover tubes up on the intake manifold there. So yeah, this is pretty good. I actually had this motor, or this head, redecked 2 years ago, and what I did is I went through all the valve lash, reset everything, grinded the valve seats, and basically just made it all seal up perfect. So I'm just going to be running this as it is and just slapping it onto the 30 once that gets machined, and it should be good. Alright, let's talk about some of the parts here and some of the plans I have for this motor and some of the plans for the car. So I've got 1500cc injectors on the way. So basically, I think that'll be good for about 850 to 900 horsepower at the tires, somewhere in there. And I know that turbo will do it. How long that turbo is going to last, though, that's another question. But I think I want to get the car running with the 3 liter and that turbo, everything as is, and just see how it responds and how the turbo feels. So everything I have for the motor coming is from Spool. I've got the Ross 9-to-1 pistons, along with Spool's in-house brand I-beam connecting rods, with some ARP2000 rod studs. Pretty standard stuff, really. And then I've got the Spool crank spline drive kit, which actually replaces the snout of the crank. So what they do is they'll machine the snout of the crank off the oil pump drive, which is this portion here, and they'll press on the new spline drive kit, and then it also comes with the inner and outer oil pump gear that will fit inside the case of the N1 oil pump that I have. Figured that's the best option. I mean, you can get pretty crazy with these motors. You can go dry sump. That's just not an option for me. I don't have like the 3-4 grand or whatever that's going to cost to do something like that. So that worked for so long. That was a custom oil pump drive. So it's just going to be the same idea here, but just a bit more robust, so to say. And then we've got the all-wheel drive oil pan adapter coming from Spool. So that just bolts onto the bottom of this block, and it allows you to run the RB26 front oil pan with the front differential. So that should just bolt right up. And then other than that, it's pretty much just RB25 head studs with the 26 head is a good combo. You can drill these out to 12 mil or M12 and just use the RB26 head studs, but it's not really worth it. I mean, why fart around? You're probably going to pay just as much money to get these drilled out and retapped for what it's worth just to buy brand new RB25 head studs. So that's the route I'm going to go with that. And everything else is pretty straightforward, just bolting things back together. So next time we talk about this, it's going to be a couple weeks from now once I get all my parts and I can get this up to the machine shop and sort of get it all decked and get it bored out, and then we're going to put the motor together. So till then.